This is the Erin Cruz Show. Politics for the people and by the people. With your host, Erin Cruz.
Hello, my name is Erin Cruz. Thank you for joining me for the Erin Cruz Show. Tonight, we have a lineup like you can't believe. We have Burton Brink, who's running for California State Assembly. We also have RUTH WEISS. She is founder of the Election Integrity Project. Yes, she is one of the women who's leading the charge to help keep elections fair. She's also equipping citizens of the United States of America, as well as California, giving them the information they need to be able to get involved in the process and be the solution. We all have to get involved, so make sure you grab your pen and paper. You're going to want to take notes when you have her come on the line. Great woman. We also have Antonio Sabato Jr. Antonio Sabato, he was in General Hospital. He has a long list of things that he's been in, attached to Hollywood, so to speak. This man has been attacked viciously by the media, by the mainstream media. He's had everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him, and maybe we better ask him if he has had the kitchen sink thrown at him. Been pretty brutal. We want to get past the MSM rhetoric. We want to get down to what it is that Antonio Sabato Jr. wants to do in the United States House of Representatives for the citizens of this great republic. So sit back, grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy this edition of the Erin Cruz Show.
We will return to the Erin Cruz Show in just a moment.
Oh, it's a good day for singing this song, and it's a good day for moving along. Yes, it's a good day. How could anything go wrong? A good day from morning till night. Yes, it's a good day for shining your shoes, and it's a good day for losing the blues. Everything to gain and nothing to lose, 'cause it's a good day from morning till night. You're right. I said to the sun, good morning, sun. Rise and shine today. You know you gotta get going if you're gonna make a showing, and you know you got to right away, 'cause it's a good day for paying your bills, and it's a good day for curing your ills. So take a deep breath, throw away all your pills, 'cause it's a good day from morning till night.
Just this very day I said to the sun, good morning, sun, rise and shine. Why don't you rise and shine?
You know you gotta get going if you wanna make a showing, and you know you got the right of way, 'cause it's a good day for paying your bills, and it's a good day for curing your ills. So take a deep breath, throw away all your pills, 'cause it's a good day from morning till night.
Say that again.
Oh, it's a good day from morning till night.
That's what he said.
Yes, it's a good day from morning till night.
And now, back to the Erin Cruz Show. Here's Erin Cruz.
Hello and welcome to the Erin Cruz Show. Tonight we have with us Burton Brink. He's retired. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm really excited to have you on the show. Burton is retired law enforcement. He has a strong background. I mean, I could go on and on and on. You're going to have to check out his website to really find out all the details. He's going to give you some information. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read to you a bit of what I found on his website, just a touch, a little bit about his bio, what he wants to do, and then we're going to let him share with you the good work that he has ahead of him when he gets to the California Assembly. Burton Brink. He tells us on his website that his parents came to Arcadia, California in 1967. His mother was an architect and his father was in the refrigeration business. They built the house he lives in today. They built it.
Yep.
We're talking California, all-American family. This is what this is, folks. This is Burton Brink's home life. They were looking for a quiet and safe community to raise their family. This has been his home ever since. His parents instilled in him the idea that his goals were attainable through hard work, honesty, and serving others. Did you hear that? And serving others. It is for those reasons that he dedicated his life to protecting the public. With violent crime up 5.2% across Los Angeles and a noticeable increase in property crimes here in San Gabriel Valley, it has never been more important that we elect leaders who know what it takes to keep our community safe. Now, his community is also my community because we all live here in California, right? It's important that we unite together and that we see his vision and really listen here because, you know, he talks about electing leaders who know what it takes to keep the community safe, and others in his community see that. The Professional Peace Officers Association, they basically represent 8,700 law enforcement officers across Los Angeles County. They support his campaign for California State Assembly. That's something else, folks. Finally, he says he'll fight to enhance transparency so you can more easily hold your state government accountable and make it run more efficiently. Wouldn't that be a novel idea? Efficient government. Remember when violent criminals are released early into your neighborhood, who are you going to call? A crime fighter or a politician? Welcome to the show, Burton. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Erin. It's great to see you.
Of course. You know, this isn't the first time you and I have met. We met on the campaign trail not that long ago, and I have to tell you, it was really, really wonderful meeting you. Now, you and I, in the pre-interview here just a few minutes ago, we were talking about criminals, how they'll always break the law.
Yep.
And you know, the way I look at it is this, is politicians are supposed to be fighting crime essentially with legislation. Instead, the current policy and legislators up in Sacramento are loosening.
Yep, they're letting it all go. They're letting the criminals go free. You know, our crimes now no longer have any consequences.
Right.
We've gotten rid of our 3-strike law. Those were for your repeat offenders. That gave everybody that third chance to make themselves right and to do the right thing. And after the third time, they were going to do 25 years in jail, and that is now gone. So now we've got criminals that are committing, let's just say, the petty theft, going into your local supermarket. With calculators, right? Stealing $940.
It's a joke. People talk about this, but it's scary.
But they do. They do. $949 worth of stuff. And if they happen to get caught that time, okay, great. The police come, they write a ticket, and you're right back out to go next door and do it again. We have one in LA County that's been arrested 84 times.
84 times?
84 times, and he hasn't served any time in jail yet.
Has he paid his fines? Do they pay fines, right?
Their fines are minimal fines, a couple of $100 and a day in jail. And that day is nothing more than just going in the morning and they're right back out that night. And that's part of the problem because you don't have any consequences any longer.
Right. And part of this, it's you know, people say, well, you know, some of these petty theft people, then they're taking up space in our jails where we could put more violent criminals. Look, all it takes is one situation where a person is armed or somebody gets hurt, and this individual who's petty theft has now impacted an entire community.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not okay.
It's affecting every single one of us because when we go to that store to buy our items, we're now paying more money for that item because the store has already lost it, you know, for the times that they haven't caught the suspect and gotten their stuff back. You know, so it's affecting you and it's affecting me when we go to the grocery store. They're saying, oh, it's a victimless crime. No, it's not because the store owners are not going to take the hit. You and I, as the consumer, is going to take the hit, and they can only do it so many times. You've got some stores that are losing millions of dollars a year, Macy's and stores like that are losing millions of dollars a year due to petty theft, and there's no consequences for the crime, and that's why they keep doing it.
Right? You know, it's like a child. You know,
oh, yeah.
I mean, count to 3. 1, 2, 3. If nothing happens, they know. They're going to call your bluff. Now, you know, this is a revolving door situation, and we can't say it's not just a victimless crime. There are a lot of victims. Taxpayers are victims, because every time we have to write citations or they go to jail for a night and then they come back out. It's just a cycle, you know.
But the politicians are calling it a victimless crime because it's not hurting anybody. Nobody got hurt. Physically hurt is what they're talking about. But this does hurt. This hurts the poor. This hurts us,
this hurts everyone.
The working people, you and I, who are trying to go buy food for our family, and it's like, okay, instead of buying that gallon of milk for $1.59, it's now $2.59 because they keep getting stuff stolen. They have to make it up somehow, and you and I are paying for it.
We are, and in more ways than just one. Absolutely, I agree with that. So now, I have to ask you. I know you want to serve. I know you want to serve your community. I know you want to serve California. You have a servant's heart. Your family, you come from a family of servant-oriented people. Why else? What other driving factor is pushing you to this place? Is it just the criminal factor? You're tired of the lawlessness and you want to see strong legislation or revision? Why? Why now?
So, Erin, it's all of the above. Everything that you just mentioned and more.
Yes.
You know, your people in Sacramento are supposed to represent you, represent the community. And my representative has voted yes on Proposition 47, yes on Proposition 57, yes on the gas tax, yes on taxing water. Next, they're getting ready to tax our parcels, you know, an additional tax because they can't get anything because Prop 13, and they're trying to get rid of Prop 13. All these things have affected me and have hurt me. And it's like, well, you're supposed to represent me, but you're no longer representing me. You're representing somebody who is taking care of the criminals or the illegal aliens and not taking care of the tax-paying citizens. It's not taking care of our veterans. We're not taking care of our homeless problems. We're not taking care of
big issues. Those are big ticket issues. Those are
big issues.
Those are big ticket issues there, and it's a large populace you're talking about. I mean, the homeless, the veterans, all of the people here who need our help, and they're not addressing the issues. Where do you stand in terms of some of the legislation they're pushing forth, like SB 54? It's law now. I mean, it is, and it's stupid. It's a violation of federal law, as far as I'm concerned. That should have never passed, and we should not be dealing with that. Law enforcement has never dealt with it. You know, the local law enforcement, because immigration's a federal issue. So local law enforcement has never really had that as being an issue. We don't drive around and trying to find people who are illegal and throw them in the back of our car, take them to our jail and call ICE. We've never done that. The only time you've had to deal with us and we've dealt with ICE is when we're getting ready to release you and we know that you're an illegal alien. Right. Then we contact ICE. They come into a controlled environment and they remove you because, I'm sorry, you've already broken the law once coming here illegally. You've obviously been arrested, so you broke the law again. How are these people, you know, we're not just looking for people who are here illegally. Right. We're looking for people who have broken the law that now ICE wants to take back. Now, when you say we, now I'm going to back up. You're talking about local law enforcement. The federal agencies, different agencies can
do that. Yes, and you're absolutely correct.
Right. So we're talking more on a local level here, just the individuals who are enforcing current laws on the city, county, and what have you levels. It also puts those law enforcement officials at risk. It puts the community at risk, and
big time
monetarily impacts us all.
So, I can give you a prime example of something that's actually very close to me. And in 2002, I had a partner at Temple Sheriff Station who was murdered by an illegal alien. He had been deported 5 times, drug offenses. Again, that victimless crime because it's just drugs. It doesn't hurt anybody, so the politicians say. My friend David March, he pulled him over and got out of the car, and the suspect basically assassinated him there on the street and fled to Mexico. And it took 5 years to get him back. And the only reason we got him back,
a lot of resources,
a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the only reason we got him back and Mexico gave him to us was because the widow said that if he comes back, we won't go for the life sentence or death penalty. We'll just give him a life in jail. Again, a deported alien 5 times, illegal alien that's in our country, murdered a police officer. How do people think that they don't do that? And it doesn't matter. You know, everybody keeps talking about as well, illegal aliens are from Mexico. No, they are not.
They from all over the world.
Every single country in the world. It's not just Mexico. And yet you're seeing the protests, and they're all saying, you know, it's against Hispanics. It's like, no, it's not against the Hispanics.
This isn't a racial issue. This is a law issue. This is I believe, a law and order issue.
Absolutely.
We're not the only country who wants law and order. It creates stability for economies. It creates, you know, an environment where families can flourish and businesses can operate. I mean, it's something where the media, again, in our pre-interview, we were talking about how this is so great what we're doing right here, because the media is just such a negative piece as far as you and I are concerned. They're not serving the populace, and they're literally manipulating people into a position where they make immigration a race thing, and it's not.
Absolutely. And it's sad to say that, because just before I ended my career, I did a lot of work with the media, and there's some great people in the media that I've spoken to. I really enjoyed my interactions with them, but what they are basically being forced to do is tell a story with just a little different view than the actual truth of everything that's going on. I'm not saying that they're not giving you, you know, some facts. They are giving you some facts, but they're not giving you the entirety of the situation that's happening. And as long as it's going with the agenda that they're being told to give out to everybody. Right,
right. Well, you know, I applaud you, and I'm grateful. I don't live in your district, but I am grateful you're running, because what you do, you know, some Californians, they say, well, why does Burton matter to me? Why does Burton Brink's election matter to me? Well, if you live in the state of California, Burton is elected, guess what? Mr. Brink goes right up to Sacramento, and he helps to create legislation. So it's important people understand what you believe in, where you stand on the issues, and help you if they can to get elected if they so choose. So now you're
absolutely,
you're pro law enforcement. You're pro law enforcement.
Absolutely.
Where do you stand? Where do you smell on?
Where
do you stand on small business? We're real here. We don't cut anything out, by the way. So
all good. It's all good.
So where do you stand on small business, Burton?
Oh, well, see, now here again, we've got Sacramento that is hurting every single small business out here. We have people that are being overtaxed, overregulated, which again, of course, is costing more people money. They're having a hard time hiring people because they don't have enough money to have those extra people.
Right.
Small businesses is what makes America so great. And it's, you know, granted, all these big corporations, they hire a lot of people, but it's the mom and pop shops that really need the help. And when you really restrict them, it's really difficult. I have a friend of mine who does karate and had a karate class here in Arcadia. And he had to move out of state because of all the restrictions that were put on him, and just teaching kids how to defend themselves and how to do karate and basically keep them busy and out of the gangs and stuff. And he was pushed away. He's now building his business in Arizona. He moved there just this last month. Wow. Those are the problems that we have with Sacramento, with going so far over with their regulations and hurting the small businessmen. I frequent a lot of my small businesses here, the restaurants and stores that we go to, as opposed to going to the big stores, because I know they need it more than the big stores, and their prices are pretty much the same as the big stores. So why worry about the big stores? I'd rather take care of my mom and pop shops in my community. Right,
just like your father, refrigeration business, you know, hometown small business gentleman. That's wonderful. So now, also, we've talked about immigration, we've talked about law enforcement, small business. I'm hearing from you that you would like eased regulation. You know, there's some really, really crazy things coming out of Sacramento right now. Some of them are for universal health care even. Where do you stand on this?
It's ridiculous.
This topic?
The government's job is not to give us health care. That is a private industry. That has nothing to do with the government giving it to you. And I have friends that live in Canada. I speak to them all the time. I see them all the time. And they come down here. They're the typical snowbirds that come down in the winter, so they're not freezing their butts off in Canada. And they flat out tell me they do not like their single-payer health plan, their plan that's from Canada, because one, it takes too long to be seen. It takes 6 to 8 months before they get seen for a problem. A lot of them, lucky enough, have businesses and they've got enough money that they'll come down here and they'll just pay cash to get whatever done that they need to get done because they don't want to wait so long in Canada. How is that supposed to help us? We as a society, I understand we want to help people. I get it. That's why I was a cop. You know, you get somebody who's sick and injured and they go to the hospital. We've always taken care of them. But when you're doing this universal health care system, it's absolutely asinine that you think that that's going to work. It hasn't worked in all these other countries. What makes you think it's going to work in the United States? We can't even take care of the IRS. The IRS can't even take care of their own job. What makes you think they can take care of our medical stuff?
Right. Like with Obamacare, where they're running basically the financial end of Obamacare. The IRS is just a big, I look at him like almost like the Monopoly guy, the go to jail, except for he's not a policeman. He's a bully, and he's looking to take the money. So now, because of this universal healthcare system situation in California, I've looked at some of the infrastructure that they're suggesting. I mean, some outlets say 2.5% to 3%. Some say even more, 4%. And I always say, whatever government says, triple it, because they can never work under or at budget. They're not efficient, and they don't do things well. And in many cases, like we saw with Obamacare, it failed. So, you know, in government, they're not getting money, pie out of the sky, to fund this. They're going to have to take it from us.
Right. So we're going to get hit again here in California.
So Californians, I don't know about you, unless you're super ultra wealthy, most people are looking at how to tighten the belt, how to watch their, pinch their pennies, watch their bottom line. And many are considering leaving the state. This is a job killer. This is this is just, I look at this as kind of the last nail in the coffin for California. It's not something that's attractive to most Californians. So you are definitely opposed to universal health care in the state of California. Correct.
Totally against it. You were talking about everybody leaving. You know, I retired in October.
Not everybody. We want to keep them here. We want to bring more here. We want to ease regulation. This is what I would like to see. Ease regulation. Ease, the tax burdens. Universal health care. Bring them in. Incentivize it.
But all my friends who retired with me are like, hey, you're retiring, so where are you moving to? That's their first question to me, is where you're moving to. And I'm like, I'm staying here. I'm fighting for our state because I don't want to leave here. I'm third generation born here in Los Angeles. My family actually, we tracked my family, and they've actually come over on the Mayflowers. So we were part of what came over here to make a new life for themselves. My great-great-great-grandfather started the Brink's armored car business. I'm sure you've ever seen the Brink's cars. That is my great-great-grandfather. That is my great-great-grandfather. Now, obviously, we don't own it anymore. Trust me, I still live penny to penny on my paychecks. But, that's something that was brought.
But he had a vision.
Brought to me. He had a vision, and he had it, and they sold it back in the early 1913 area time frame. But we've been here. Our family has been here for centuries, and I don't want to. In California, like I said, I'm third generation. I'm ready to stay here. I don't want to leave. I live in the home I grew up in. This home gives me so many memories with my parents. So why do I want to leave this?
Right. This is your home. California is your home. Arcadia is your community. And there's no reason why you should leave, and you absolutely should fight for what you believe in. I believe that the founders were just the same. They had a vision, and they fought for what they believed in.
Right,
and it wasn't easy. It wasn't a skip in the park, right?
Right, and I have a nephew that's in the backgrounds for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, where I retired from. My stepson, he is a deputy with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. My wife is a retired sergeant from the Sheriff's Department. I have another nephew who's a U.S. Marine. You know,
right.
we are taught to serve. We are taught to take care of our place. California is my state. Arcadia is my community. The San Gabriel Valley is my community, which is my
right.
district. And that is why I'm fighting to make sure that we actually have true representation. And it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. I want to hear everybody's view of what they believe in, and let me make the best decision for all of us. You can't have somebody who's going to be 100% right on board with you. But, you know, right now, the person who's representing me, I'm 0% on board with. So it's like, you know, there's a night and day difference between the two of them.
Right, right. Well, it sounds like you have a strong vision. What is your community's response to your campaign? Your website certainly shows that you have many, many endorsements from law enforcement and other areas. But what is the response from both Republicans and Democrats and independents?
You know, what's really nice, Erin, is I've had a number of Democrats who have heard me speak and have said, my God, you're going to be the first Republican I ever voted for. The Democratic Party has gone so far over. They don't represent me. But I like what you have to say. You care about what my thoughts are, yet you're saying things that I believe in. And I'm like, well, you might not actually be a Democrat. You might have a D next to your name, but you might realize that you're probably a Republican. Independents the same way. They've told me the same thing. I'm voting for you. I'm supporting you. It's good to see someone that wants to put common sense back into Sacramento and not be the craziness that's coming out of there. And you know, we've had Jerry Brown before. He's ruined our state back in the 70s. He's back again. He's making it even worse now.
He's doubling down.
He's doubling down. And then if we get, you know, if Gavin Newsom gets anywhere close to that, he's worse than Brown. We must make sure that we get John Cox in there and make sure that we bring in other people who believe the same way I am, which is, I think the majority of the people you've had on your show so far that I know of are all thinking the same way I am. It's taking care of the community, taking care of the people, and taking care of our veterans and children before we start worrying about other countries coming into our area.
Right, yes. Patriots, not politicians.
Absolutely.
And you bring up a strong point, John Cox, and that's one, you know, in unifying. Republicans need to unify, and even people who may identify as a Democrat, if they're not identifying with, and I say identify because the Democrat Party has just morphed into this progressive left ideology of everything that America isn't. And, you know, I really do see it as important that we unify the people, we the people, Californians who believe like you do and I do in smaller, more restrained government. And the power of we the people, and elect people like John Cox, not Gavin Newsom, elect people like yourself, Burton Brink. And, you know, I think we'll see a nice, strong red wave this 2018 election cycle, but we have to unify. We have to get rid of those petty arguments that the media brings up and unify and back people like you. Now,
we need to get people to wake up. We got to get them off their butts and go vote, because a lot of people think California is a lost cause.
We are not a lost cause.
It's not lost.
Are you out there on the streets? Are you out there in the streets meeting with people and
absolutely
and
going door to door and doing all the stuff that you got to do for these type of things.
Right. Well, I wanted to ask outright. I saw some information online, but I wanted to ask you outright. Now, Burton, could you repeat your name and share with us a little bit about your platform, where your stance is, and also information on where people can go to get more information on you, contribute to your campaign, or sign up to volunteer?
Absolutely, and thanks, Erin, so much.
Of course.
So my name is Burton Brink, and my website is burtonbrink.com, burtonbrink.com. My Facebook is Brink for Assembly. My Twitter is @Brink, the number 4 Assembly. And my Instagram is Burton Brink, the number 4 Assembly. So those are my social media platforms. As you've said, I've been endorsed by a number of law enforcement agencies, the Association of Los Angeles Deputy Sheriffs, the Fraternal Order of Police, which is a national organization around the United States, and actually around the world, that they've endorsed me. the Arcadia Police Officers Association. I've been endorsed by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association.
That's wonderful.
Again, because, you know, I know what it's like to keep paying taxes more and more. I'm against the gas tax. I'm actually on August 23rd in Covina. I'm hosting the Yes on repealing the gas tax along with Carl DeMaio.
Good.
So we'll be doing that on August 23rd. Please come on out. I support Prop 13. I want to keep it. I want to reduce crime by getting rid of Proposition 47 and 57, and which means we'll have to put it back on the ballot and get it voted on. I'm against sanctuary states. It's time for us to take care of our communities. It's time to take care of the people. It's time to put our veterans and children first, and let's do that before we start building a bullet train to nowhere.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much, Burton Brink, for being on the show. You're always welcome. If you just need to come on and share about something that's going on, what's going on in your community, or information, updates on your campaign, we'd always love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate it. It's great seeing you again.
Of course. God bless you.
You too. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
There you have it, folks. We had Burton Brink here on the show, crime fighter, patriot, not a politician, running for the California State Assembly in the 49th District. Please follow up with him, get involved, contribute if you can. Thank you again. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back to you in just a few minutes.
We will return to the Erin Cruz Show in just a moment.
My name is Erin Cruz, and I want to tell you all I am so grateful and honored to be able to be invited here this evening. I want to thank, first of all, Latinos for Trump. Dynamic event.
Thank you so much.
Sponsoring the event and bringing all of us together. That's really what we need to be doing right now here in California. This is what Dinesh is working so hard to do. You know, we may have the left, we may have the right, but really, we're all Americans, and some of us are working because we love America, and there are those that are working who hate America.
Exactly.
Okay? For those of you who don't know who I am, I ran for United States Senate against Dianne Feinstein. I didn't win the top two, but I'm going to tell you what, I saw a lot of what Dinesh was sharing in that movie right here on our soil. Right. I saw it right here in the state of California, and I saw it right here in San Diego.
Wow.
I saw it right in my U.S. Senate run. We had an anti-Semite who ran as a Republican. We had a Medicare for all, dental, vision, you name it, running as a Republican. Just joined the Republican Party. Our country is being infiltrated, and the Republican Party is being tarnished. Yes. There is nothing wrong with the Republican Party. The platform is strong. Conservative values are American values. Amen. Amen. Conservative values, family values, our Hispanic values, our Asian values. Man, woman. Identity politics is tearing apart America. Yep. I have been intimidated by our own party. I have been intimidated and bullied by the left. I have had death threats. I've been told not to run in 2022 against Kamala Harris by people on the left and on the right. I will not be intimidated.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We are God-fearing patriots who love this country, and we will stand up and fight with our words, fight with our heart, for our love of country, for our love of conservatism, for the love of everything that we are and who we are. Amen. We will not stop until we take this country back. Amen. And I will run in 2022 against Kamala Harris. But you know what? I have to tell you, that is the goal, kind of. We can't stop at 2022. We have to think further. Yep. Okay? People right now, they think about now, this moment right now, what's helping them right now. We have to think forward. I have a heart for the country. I have a heart for our people, all United States citizens. And that's why I've committed myself up until 2018 to work to help every candidate who is a God-fearing Republican and patriot.
Yes. Yep.
By giving them a voice on the Erin Cruz Show as volunteer. I want to help them reach the people in the state of California, and I want to help them get elected so we can take this state back.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. This isn't about me. This is about all of you. I want to partner with you to help give them that voice. For example, we have a man in this room, a wonderful man. His name is Juan Hidalgo.
What energy he has.
He's amazing.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
Yes, he had an uphill battle. He won it. He made the top 2.
Woo!
Yes. But I've endorsed him for the United States Congress. I believe in what he's doing, and I believe what he stands for. And I know that he will stand with his constituents and he will stand with other citizens of this great nation and fight for us in D.C.
Yeah. Yep.
Last week, was it, Juan, I had you on the show?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Okay. People love it. They want to hear. They want to hear the good word, the positive message. I want to make sure and help these candidates get their message out. We have to stand together, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
This is a fight for the future of our republic.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
The left will stop at nothing, including putting Democrats, liberal, progressive left, in our own party, in our own races to bleed our vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't let them.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, we have a United States congressperson running who made the top 2, who's a Republican, who's a Holocaust denier. Yes. Fitzpatrick.
No, don't need to know. Doesn't matter.
It's there. You can find it. Look. You may say, we don't need to know. The truth is here. The truth is real.
That's right.
Right.
Amen.
This is our country and our future.
Praise
Yeah.
the Lord.
Yes.
If we don't draw a line in the sand, where will we be?
We are Americans.
Yes, we are Americans. We need to unite. We need to unite. So here's the deal. Please stand with me, join with me, support the Republicans who are running for office, the good God-fearing citizens who are fighting for you and I. I need you all to give your time, talent, and treasure and invest. We need a red wave 2018.
Yes.
Like we've never seen before.
That's right.
And I want to go back to what that name was that I brought up. I have to. I just have to say it.
Okay.
Please.
And the reason why is because he's not a Republican.
That's right.
Termite.
He's not a Republican. And that's what Dinesh was talking about on this screen.
Yep.
Is don't be fooled.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be fooled. They will do anything.
Yep.
You have to be brave.
Amen.
Okay? So in any case, I want to make sure and not take too much time. We only have a half an hour. I would like to make sure that Juan Hidalgo and Hector, he is able to speak. But again, time, talent, treasure. Go to erincruz.com to learn more about the show, the candidates that are running in your area, and be sure to spread the news. Like, share, and spread the good word about conservatism.
Tweet. Tweet.
Oh, tweet. Make sure you tweet as well. But spread the word. Don't just scroll past that person who's sharing information on their campaign because it's political. Don't do that. Make sure you share it.
Yeah.
Be brave.
Yeah.
It's not a dirty word to be a conservative. It's not a dirty word to be a Republican or say you're a Republican. And it's not a dirty word or a dirty thing to say, I support President Donald Trump.
Yes, we do.
Citizens first. God bless you and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you so much.
And now, back to the Erin Cruz Show. Here's Erin Cruz.
Now is the time for our really esteemed guest. Her name is Ruth WEISS. She is from the Election Integrity Project, California. She is making impact all across the state. She's co-founder. She's really has a heart for ensuring that we have fair elections. You know, we have so much to learn from her. We've talked about so many different things. I did a pre-interview with her. We did a pre-interview. We did discuss a lot of different topics, but one of the hottest topics is how can people get involved? How do we ensure that there are poll watchers, there are poll observers, and how can we make sure that every vote counts, that every vote matters, that the integrity of the system is strong. When there's strong integrity of the system, people will turn out and vote. It's when people feel like their vote doesn't count that people sit back and are discouraged. And look what we have. We had a very low turnout in the midterm. So Ruth is being that part of that solution. She's really working hard. It doesn't matter, again, if you're DR, independent, libertarian, being a part of the process, being a part of the solution, and ensuring the integrity of the vote is strong, it matters. And you can make impact. As a matter of fact, Ruth talks about, in the interview, Ruth talks about the impact of one person, a person who decided to get involved, saw something that wasn't going right, and here's what Ruth had to say.
Ballot, but many of them were simply turned away. So they were being disenfranchised. This one individual knew this was wrong because she'd been trained. She knew what to look for. She knew what was right. She knew what was wrong. And she also knew what to do about it because of our training, and she contacted us. We were able to go up the chain of command through our legal connections, and about midday, the registrar of voters up there was required to put out a big media release saying, oh dear, there are some things wrong. If you tried to vote, were turned away, you can go back and vote. You have a right to vote, which never would have happened if this one person hadn't seen it, reported it, and made it go statewide. So it's very exciting to know that even one person can make such an enormous difference. And the rest of that day then, the polls in Los Angeles were straightened out. People showed up to vote. They were not turned away. It makes a very big difference just to have one set of eyes out there. Now imagine if we have hundreds of sets of eyes out there all over the state. We will make changes at the moment that these infractions occur, and we protect votes, we protect voters, just because we have educated some citizens as to what to look for and what to do when they see it.
Right, right. It's vital, and education, I believe, is key. You know, you talk about the power of one, you talk about, you know, the impact we can make, just one person in playing a role in our own community. We don't have to go far. You know, there are polling stations in each community. Mine is just 1.5 miles or 2 miles down the road. And it is so important, and not everybody is educated about poll work. I mean, I'll tell you my situation. I was in the 2016 elections. I faced a situation where I went to go vote, and my ballot was already filled out. Literally. And it was frustrating because it was filled out for the person that I was going to vote for, which was President Donald Trump. It doesn't matter who it was filled out for the person I was going to vote for. It was filled out improperly, as a matter of fact. It was crossed apart, like crossed, and it's supposed to be one straight line. So I went over and I spoke to the individual working the poll station, and you are correct. Many of the poll workers are ill-educated as to what needs to be done next. And it was frustrating for me as a voter because I felt like the system, the entire system, was compromised. Why did I get a ballot that was filled out? And sure, I got a new ballot, and sure, I went through this entire process. But, you know, citizens, they need to have security knowing that the system is strong, there's a process that needs to be followed, and that people handling the materials are well trained and educated in what needs to take place next. And that's kind of where you're helping out, right? Is you're an independent organization, and you train individuals who want to either be poll workers or go and observe, correct? Because that's one of the components that you were mentioning in one of the trainings that I went to, was that basically I could go do a poll worker position and be an observer, or I could just go and observe. And Ruth, I feel like, you know, when you talk about this LA system where there are so many people who are overvoting, the integrity of the process is weak, people just don't have that security, and then they feel like their vote doesn't matter, and then what's the point of even voting? And then it ends up with people on the couch. Well,
you've made a lot of very important points there, Erin. And I hear the frustration in your voice as a California voter.
Yes, yes, we need solutions. We need you.
We need to be able to trust our system. Yes. That even the Supreme Court said, look, if people don't trust the system, then they're not going to participate in it. And you've heard lots of things coming from the powers that be in California saying, oh my goodness, we don't have enough voter participation. We have to do everything we can to get more people to go out to vote. And they are coming up with all these crazy schemes when the only scheme they need to come up with is to do something to make people feel that their vote counts, that it's protected, and that it's not, you know, diluted by someone who shouldn't be voting. All these very, very common sense things that rather than doing that, they're doing all these really crazy things with their laws. What is important about what we're doing is that we are educating people to go out to the polls. We are also, through our website and through our emails, we are educating voters who may not become observers for us. But anytime you're in a polling place, anytime you're at the registrar of voters, anytime you're doing anything involved with the electoral process, you can be an observer. You're a citizen. You have that right. And when you know what you should be experiencing and you're seeing something that doesn't look right, the next thing that you know through our education is what to do about it, how to report it, how to get it stopped. And so we urge people to be on our email list. We urge people to go to our website often. There's all kinds of really great voter information there. We have been working with the county officials since 2012, trying to get the poll worker education better. In some counties it has become very, very good. In other counties it's really abysmal. And the poll workers are great heroes. They're out there doing a very difficult, exhausting job. And they do want to do their very best. They're out there because, like you and me, they have a sense of public service and they want a fair and honest election. But they're not being given the tools. They're not being given the education. And they have to wing it sometimes. And it's very frustrating for them. So we encourage people to get involved with what we do because you can go out for as little as 30 minutes. You can go out all day if you've got the time. You go where you ask to go, so you don't have to travel large miles. You can go just right down the street or wherever you want to go. And while you're there, you observe for us. We give you a phone number you can call, and that phone number will put you in touch with a hotline, and we take it from there. You're not the heavy. You're not trying to fix it. You're just letting us know. And we have some very, very good success because we've established relationships with the registrars. And so when we call them, quite often what got reported gets fixed very immediately. So it's an exciting to know that any one person can have a very big impact on the integrity of the election in their own community.
Right. And your nonprofit. Yes. You know, and so because when I think of elections and all the money they're spending in the state of California, you know, now they're going to be replacing machines in LA, and they're going to be, spending loads of money on things that, you know, like you said, they're very simple solutions to a lot of the problems, the big problems that are maybe not as heavily weighted financially as they need to be. But we can be that part in the solution. Now, I did get one other question. I'm looking right here. I got one question about LA County specifically has areas where people don't go to a polling station. They only are mail-ins. Now, what part, if any, do you as an organization play in the Election Integrity Project with those types of ballots? I mean, do you have any role after the ballots go in the mail and are received over in the registrars, or are you removed at that point?
No, we do. In fact, I'm really glad you asked that question, because a whole lot of people have made a choice to vote by mail, and we have a really big education system going to try to convince people that if they have another choice, that's a very bad choice to make. But many people do make that choice, and as you mentioned, a lot of people are in areas where they're required to vote by mail, right, because the law indicates that if you have fewer than 250 people in your precinct who are registered, then that means that you have to be all vote by mail. As a matter of fact, the new law, the Voter Choice Act, which is very a misnomer, but the Voter Choice Act now for Los Angeles County alone has upped that number to 500, which forces more people onto the vote by mail list. Nevertheless, one of the things that we do, we have a special training. It's online. It's only an hour long, and we teach people what to look for, and then we ask them to go during the entire 60-day period of time that ballots are being cast and processed and counted, to go to the registrar's office and observe that process. So we have teams of people going to observe to see that they're matching signatures properly, that they're not allowing ballots through that shouldn't get through, that they are not throwing out ballots that ought to be accepted, that they're doing things properly. We observe the early vote. We observe all of that, and we train you how to do that.
So that is one segment of the training, is specifically for the mail-in ballots, or even just to observe at the voter registrar during the counting process.
Yes, it's a separate training, and it's online. Our other training is in person, but this one is online. All you have to do is let us know that you want to receive it. We communicate with you, and then you just watch it in the comfort of your own home. And then you're ready to go out and really take part in this citizen oversight that's so important.
Right, right. So now, how many, I mean, I was reading the amount of mail-in ballots that were sent in this cycle for the primary election, and the numbers were huge. I mean, yes, compared historically, the numbers are huge. It seems that more and more people are voting by mail. And, you know, people are concerned whether or not the registrars are receiving them. They're more concerned for the November election. Will the, registrars receive them and count them? Will their vote count? But with this jump, with this rise of voters by mail, and with everything going on relating to the insecurity of the vote and people's perception, especially with what happened in LA, I mean, how many people do you see that you need to get involved to be able to, I mean, one person matters. One person can make major impact. We know that. But how many people, really are you in need of to be truly effective to cause actual change here in California?
Well, of course, the real dream would be to have one observer in every polling place in the state of California, right? And
right, and there are 58 counties,
right,
and there are a lot of polling places.
Impossible, I'm sure, but that's what we reach for. I don't even want to put a number on how many does it take to be effective. It depends on how effectively we deploy the people and how effectively that they report back to us. But, you mentioned something about vote by mail ballots, and I wanted to add to that. What I'm afraid of, besides the growing number of people voting by mail, which is very, very frightening because of the ability to all of those ballots to be manipulated behind closed doors, and also the fact that it really slows down the process of getting electoral results, because all the time it takes to process those ballots, and people are saying, how come they don't know who won yet? How come they don't know who won yet? Because it takes so long. And the more that continue to come in, and there's a finite time by which they have to process them, they're going to have to be more careless in the processing in order to meet that deadline. So this whole thing frightens me significantly. But what's more frightening is that at the polling places themselves, we have growing numbers, and they're growing extremely quickly, of people who are showing up on election day and saying, I'm supposed to vote by mail, but I never got my ballot. And so they're voting provisionally because they never received their ballots. So my concern is, we know those ballots were mailed out. Where did they go? Who's harvesting them? And what's happening? How are they getting processed? Because chances are, if you didn't get your ballot and you didn't think to report it lost until election day, someone harvested it, someone voted it, someone turned it in, and it's been counted, and so your provisional ballot will be thrown out. So what we ask voters to do, especially those who voted with an envelope ballot, is to go to the Secretary of State's website or to the website of their own registrar of voters, and they can find out whether their vote was counted in the election. And if it was rejected, they will also give you a reason. So if I had gone and said I lost my vote by mail ballot, or I never got it, and I cast a provisional ballot, and then I go on the website and it says I voted by mail, what does that tell me? It says someone harvested my ballot and that one was counted, my provisional was thrown out, and I lost my vote, which is another reason we ask you not to vote by mail, because if you don't vote by mail, you don't have a ballot to be harvested or stolen. So that's really frightening, because too many ballots are not reaching the proper destination of the voter.
Right. Well, you know, I've been, you know, I ran for U.S. Senate. I'm now in a position where I'm really, really focused on educating people. The process is so important, and understanding how everything works is so vital. And more I hear from people that they can't remember if they voted, you know, by mail, or if they took themselves off. I thought I took myself off of that and they received a mail-in ballot. I've heard all these different stories about, you know, particular person's situation. And now when I speak to people, I just suggest to them, go down to the voter registrar's office or contact them and double check. You know, it doesn't hurt to just check. You know, people are busy. They're busy working, paying bills. They're busy, you know, voting is this thing that many people do just every couple of years, you know, and they don't think much of it until they don't get their ballot or they're not on a voter roll, you know, and it's making a big difference.
Yeah. Well, the article that we just sent out to our contact list yesterday reminded people that about this time prior to an election, every election, it's important to go to the website of your registrar's office, or now you can go to the Secretary of State's office and check your registration. How are you registered? Is it the way you want to be registered? Did you move and forget to update your address? Did you decide to change parties and forget to update that? Did you decide you don't want to vote by mail, but you're still a mail voter? Go to your website and make sure you know how you are registered. So if it's not the way that you want, you've got time to fix it before the election comes. And that way you cut down on voter error that you were talking about.
Right, and primarily, you know, I live in an area where there are a lot of retirees and older people, and not everybody has the internet, you know, and I've found that even talking to people, that when they call the voter registrar's office or when they go there, they're very helpful.
Yes.
But, you know, I think it's our responsibility as our duty as citizens to be an active participant and to make sure that we're doing things the right way as well. And also make sure the elections are secure by being a part of that process. So now, if you could, Ruth, explain to the people who are listening, if you're just joining us, this is Ruth Weiss. She's co-founder of the Election Integrity Project California. She's talking to us about the process here in California, how you can be a part of ensuring that the election integrity is there. But if I wanted to ask Ruth if she could for us just explain the different types of training you have, the levels of involvement that they require, and where people can, you know, sign up to get involved.
All right. Well, that's easy. Our primary training is the training for people who go out on election day and observe the polling places. And that also, those people can go out to the places that set up early voting, like Orange County, for example, set up early voting pop-up centers. And so our observation would be the same there. So during the month of October, we hold trainings in as many counties as we've got teams, and people, we put on our website, we put the training schedule. So if you don't have a contact within your own county, you go to our website and we have a neat little map there. You can click on your own county and you will get the schedule of when and where trainings are in your area. Then all you have to do is RSVP and show up. Those trainings have traditionally been 4 hours long because there is so much information that we try to give. But we are now trying to streamline them a little bit. So the ones for November will not be that long, but they will be just as thorough. And then once you have trained, you're good for the election season, and then the person involved with training you will help you to know where to go. They will get your information and your requests. You know, where would you like to go? What area would you like to stay in? Where would you like to observe? And then we will make sure that we coordinate that with you. You'll be given a hotline number to call when you're out there on election day, and that's all there is to it. You can go by yourself. You can request a partner. You can go for 30 minutes, or you can go for 13 hours. It's completely up to you. And then the second training that we have is the one that I mentioned before, the 1 hour online training that will give you the idea of what to look for, how to evaluate it, and what to do when you see something you're concerned about in watching the ballot processing. And so for that, you would contact us directly through our website and let us know that that's the training you're interested in. We will get back to you and connect you up with that.
Okay, so you've got various levels of involvement. So that website is electionintegrityproject.com, correct?
Yes, that's one way. It's even easier if you just go to eip-ca.com. That's a little easier to remember, maybe.
Yes.
Both will take you to the right place.
Yes, and I'm going to make sure we're going to go ahead and we're going to have this right down below so you can copy that information. And of course, you know, I think you can just look up RUTH WEISS. She pops right up. Election Integrity. She pops right up. Google is really great that way, and in helping us get to you, Ruth. I tested it out today just to make sure. Now, the last question I do have to ask you is: people are concerned with, you're at the polling place, you have observers there. And then the ballots are put in a box. Then that box goes to a truck. And then the truck goes and travels. And it gets to the voter registrar's office. Do you have people that watch the process in between? Or is that a goal to make sure that everything is, you know, streamlined from the polling place to the registrar?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we do. Part of our training tells people that if they are observing in the end of the day, that they are watching the shutdown of the polls, they're watching the process of accounting for the ballots, making sure that nothing happens with them, because we are allowed to be in the polling place before it opens, after it closes, as observers. And then once they begin to transport those ballots, they take them to a place called a collection center, which is nearby. So we ask our people to follow the transportation of those ballots to the drop-off center, and then we ask them to watch the way in which they're being handled there. Are they being handled with a chain of custody sort of process? Are they being stored appropriately? Are they put in vehicles where the transportation they feel comfortable about? And some of our people have said, I don't like what this looks like, and they have actually followed the transport truck all the way to the registrar of voters. But we do certainly encourage that, and we train our people how to do that, and again, what to look for in those locations as well.
So then you just answered my other question, which I probably should have reversed it. I was thinking endgame based on a question that someone had asked to inquire of you. But the very beginning, you're there as well. You can be there with them, you know, at the beginning of the process too. So you're really comprehensive in trying to ensure the integrity of the vote, most literally.
It's extremely important to start the day off right. If you have machines that aren't working, or there's supplies missing, or things are misarranged, then you start off the day wrong. So if we can get things fixed prior to 7 a.m., then we've already, you know, done a great deal of good. So yes, we focus on getting out there before the polls open and making sure things are ready to go.
Through the process. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I have to tell you, I commend you for your work. You have a long road ahead of you with what you're doing. But, you know, there are a lot of people who I know want to get involved. And I believe that elections do matter. Every vote counts, but that we have to be a part of the process. And I'm hoping that we can help get people involved. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Republican, you know, whatever, XYZ is behind your name. If you're a United States citizen, your vote needs to count. It matters. And the Election Integrity Project, it's here to be a part of that process. And again, this is Ruth Weiss from the Election Integrity Project California, and her website is electionintegrityproject.com. Thank you so much, Ruth, for joining us.
Thank you, Erin. It's been a great pleasure.
Yes, and I'm hoping you'll come on again as it gets closer to November and help get more people motivated and signed up. And together, I know we'll make California golden again.
That was a pleasure. Thank you.
God bless you. You take care.
All right.
Ruth had so much to share with us, and I did speak with her. And she is going to have us on, I believe, in October, which will be phenomenal right when her schedule comes out. You know, I think that if we want to make an impact in November, we have to all join together and be that solution. Go to the electionintegrityproject.com. That's ELECTION Integrity, INTEGRITY project, PROJECT.com, and find out more information. You can also contribute. It is a nonprofit, so like some other organizations, we depend on viewers like you. Election Integrity Project is depending on the citizenry to be an active participant in the process of our elections, and I know they can use your body, the support and the count and observation of the vote. They can also use contributions, so time, talent, and treasure. And there are many different ways that you'll find on their website where you can get involved, from the beginning of the process of the voting day all the way to the count, making sure that the count is accurate by observing. So there's a lot in between there. You can play a half-hour role. You can play days long. So it's up to you. Get involved. And again, thanks for watching the Erin Cruz Show. Stay tuned for Antonio Sabato Jr. He's coming on next.
We will return to the Erin Cruz Show in just a moment.
My name again is Morgan Murtaugh, and you can find more information about me or donate, volunteer at morganmurtaugh.com. You don't have to live in California to volunteer. You can phone bank from anywhere in the world. And so again, I'm running on securing our border. I'm running on cutting taxes. I'm running on helping small businesses, because the state of California and the federal government as a whole have done a disservice to the citizens of the United States when it comes to those things, and the citizens of San Diego, my district, my home. And so all the help I can get to help to promote this message and to get people like Susan Davis, who are career politicians who just sit there and do nothing, out of office, help.
And now, back to the Erin Cruz Show. Here's Erin Cruz.
So right now we have on with us Antonio Sabato Jr. He's an amazing patriot who's fighting head-to-head with the mainstream media. I think he's had everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him in this election, but he's doing a great job. He just wants to get the job done, and do the good work that the citizenry wants to have done in the United States House of Representatives. Antonio Sabato Jr. is running for the 26th Congressional District in the state of California. That is Ventura, right, Antonio?
That is Ventura, beautiful Ventura County, California, yes.
Yes. So, Antonio, can you share with us? We hear a lot of noise from the mainstream media about you and about your campaign. Can you share with us why you decided to run for the United States Congress and what motivated you to get to that place?
Well, there's many reasons. One is because one of the many is because I love this country. I love the United States, what it's done for me and my family since we moved here in 1985. Legal immigrants, we came here legally. We had to wait in line. We had to spend everything we had, and then we had to try to survive in this country. And as a matter of fact, the first 2 years we were here, we had to actually go back to Italy because we ran out of money. And none of it in my history did we ever take any money for the welfare programs in California. You know, the country's there for you, but come here legally, work, pay your dues, and the country will be behind you all the way. But it's up to you to create your future. And that's what we did. And the Ventura County is dear to me. We've been living here for 16 years now, and we haven't had a leadership from Congress in our county in a very long time. These politicians, all they do is care about themselves. They don't care about the community. They make a lot of promises, and they do absolutely nothing, and it doesn't matter on the time. I mean, my opponent has been here 6 years. She's done absolutely nothing for my community. She's sitting on $3 million or even more, and she hasn't spent one dime for our homeless people here in Ventura County or even help the community. All she talks about is the veterans. But the veterans are sick of her because our VA in Oxnard is one of the worst in the country, not one of the best. I want to get to Congress, so I'll make sure that Ventura County has the best it could possibly have, and the people of this county are treated right. And that's what I'm going after. In November, we're going to win because at the end of the day, Antonio Sabato Jr. cares about you. I care about this country, and I care about the people of this amazing nation.
Right. And, you know, I believe that when people experience hardship, especially, they learn to appreciate what they have, and it sounds like your background has been just that. I mean, you felt the realities of the struggle of being an immigrant, you know, and coming here, and people take that for granted. They really do. And
well, they take this country for granted, especially
everything for granted, it seems.
Yeah. Well, we have the greatest country in the world. I mean, this country's been through so much in just the last 200 years, and the wars, and what we have to fight for freedom, and our soldiers who are fighting still to this day around the entire planet. You know, the veterans should be first in line, should have free health care. You know, I don't understand why in the greatest country in the world we don't take care of our veterans the way we should. And finally, we have a president who's stepping up and doing that. So there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm taking the work, and I'm eager to do it. I'm excited to do it, and Ventura County's back on the map. We're going to make Ventura County the greatest place on earth, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's what leaders of each county and each state should be acting like, not about themselves and their private interest. They should do it for the people. Ask the people what they want. Don't come in there with a plan that is only suitable for you. Do what the people ask you to do. And the people of this county, from the farmers to everybody across the board, they need me. I'm there for them. The law enforcement is behind me 100%. The fire department, you name it, I am there for them. And you know, we're going to do a lot of work. And I can't wait to get in office in November.
Well, you know, I came up to your area early on in, I would say, the year, and I campaigned up there a little bit, and I met some really dynamic people, and they had nothing but great things to say about you, and some of them were even moderates. What is your welcoming from the walkaway left, or even the people who feel disenfranchised by the crazy progressive socialists who are no longer their Democrat Party? Are they warm to you, Democrats and moderates?
Yes, I mean, we were at the fair today. I was at the Ventura County Fair, and I take pride in all the fairs and everything that goes on in my county. And I'm telling you, people are switching over to Republicans because they had enough with the Democrats. The Democrat Party is not as it used to be. This is a socialist, very dangerous party who do not care about the American people whatsoever. They only want to raise their taxes and make it extremely hard for anyone to live in the state of California due to their policies that they implemented for the last 30 years in Sacramento. They are disgusting people. They do not care about anything else but themselves, and it's got to end. So we got to stop electing people who do not care about you.
Right, and I think it goes beyond just Sacramento and California. California, it's really, up in D.C., it's horrific to see the socialist progressive policies, I mean, communistic type policies that they're trying to put in place, which are, highly oppressive. Half of my family came here escaping the Holocaust, years back, and, people have fled nations, and, like the regimes that they're trying to create here, if you will. I mean, it's a slow progression to get to that sort of level, but it's what they're talking about in their legislation is quite frightening, really.
No, it is the worst, and the new stuff that they want to implement this November is even worse. I mean, not only about the gas tax, it's just going to make it harder for anyone to even drive a car in the state of California, but everything else that they're trying to do, they're trying to control the minds of the American people with propaganda, with the media, with everything else, with taxing people so much that you have no choice by just submitting yourself to their laws. And they're socialists, and they're very, very dangerous. They're very much against the Constitution. They're very much against all our beautiful 27 amendments. Listen, the Republicans, look at the history. The Republicans have always been the ones to come back and fix the problems, because the Democrats, all they do is break things, and they want the American people to pay for it. Well, we're done paying for it. We need to take care of our neighborhoods. We need to implement laws that are beneficial for the people of this nation. And ultimately, we have to give power to the people, back to them. Enough of this big government, small government. If we need you, we'll call you. But make it easier for us to live in California, not harder.
Right. And I think that your voice and representation in Ventura will be strong. I ran for U.S. Senate against Dianne Feinstein. And what just got me is, you can't legislate at the state level, right? You're going to be a U.S. House of Representative, in the U.S. House of Representatives. She can't. She's in the Senate. Here's the deal. President Trump passed a whole bunch of new tax laws, right? And they were good on the federal level. But for Californians, it was really bad. And instead of saying, let me just finish. Instead of saying, hey, you know what, California needs to get in line with the federal government and make a married tax law, get in line, ease restrictions, ease the tax burden, all of that. Feinstein and your opponent, and I mean, so many people just said, oh, it's horrible what Trump is doing. It's hurting California. No, the people like your opponent are hurting California by using the wrong voice, big government voice, and we definitely need someone like you in office who's going to be the voice of Ventura County and say enough is enough.
Absolutely, but also I want to add to that, even though I'm going to be going to Washington D.C. and back and forth and dealing with federal issues, I get involved with the local issues. It's just as important, and I'll do everything I can locally to support my county. These people in Sacramento and Washington D.C., like my opponent, all they do is talk bad about the president, talk bad about the administration, where the administration is doing so many good things across the board. They want to neglect and put them down. Enough is enough. The American people voted for this president. We're getting everything in return, and some internationally and locally. And these people don't want to join the club as far as lowering taxes, because we have to pay for all these programs in California that do not work. The American people are always last in California. We're always talking about the illegal immigrants. We're always talking about the felons. We're always talking about all these people. But the farmers who are working here, the business owner, the blue collar, the law enforcement, they're never talked about in California because they're always last. But for me, they're first. American people,
paying the bill.
They're paying the bills, and we're paying a lot of bills. $26 billion on immigration in California alone. We're spending all these billions of dollars thrown away. Cities like San Francisco are going right into the toilet bowl. Los Angeles had 10,000 to 15,000 people living on the streets. They're okay with homelessness. I'm not okay. I don't think it's okay for a human being to live on the streets. And these programs have to work one way and one way only. You get in the program, and by the time you're done with the program, you're not going back on the streets. But instead, they want people to revolving door, come in and out so they can sell their products. And those days are over. We're getting back our county. We're going to back California in November.
I love that. I love that. And it's true. But it has to, we have to get out the vote. The people have to get out and vote. And for those people, I mean, you're in Ventura. can you explain to us where the boundaries of your district are, just so people can understand? Because I think, I don't know how many people I've spoke to, they're like, I don't even know who my House representative is. Well, you can go ahead and look online, but can you explain to people what the boundaries are and what areas that you're
My county goes all the way from Westlake Village all the way down to the border of Santa Barbara and Ventura. We have Oxnard, Camarillo, Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park, Santa Paula, and so on. I mean, we have beautiful, beautiful counties here with beautiful farms. We have a beautiful beach. We have naval bases, military bases. So this is a really important county for California and the rest of the country. And I want to make it easier for our farmers to produce more and to export more. But we're having issues with that too. I mean, they want to import more and less export from our farms, and that's very dangerous for our American farmers. So there's a lot of work to be done. Listen, I'm eager. We're gonna get on this work. We're gonna start working in November. I already started working on a lot of things.
Well, you're building relationships right now. You're really building the groundwork and building those relationships because you want to get off and running. I
already started.
Too much government, wasting time.
Exactly. No, I started working. I've been campaigning for over a year now. I mean, this is the last 3 months, so I'm eager to get in office so we can get things done. And there's a lot of work to be done, but I'm very optimistic about the people of Ventura. They're rising up. They're going to go out there and vote because they don't want to be mistreated like they have been in so many years by these leaders. They call themselves leaders of our government. They do nothing. And so I'm the opposite of that. I'm working hard 24/7, 7 days a week.
So now I have to ask you, because people want to know, one of the questions is, do you support President Trump and do you support building the wall? Absolutely.
Build the wall as high as you can make it with a nice open door. You can knock on that door, come here legally.
Call them ports of entry.
Yeah, that's right. Port of entry. We have door. As a matter of fact, I would even suggest to stay in your own country and apply for the work visa if you need to, or citizenship there. But there's a lot of ways to do it. I mean, listen, our immigration system is broken. We know that, but nobody's doing anything about it. And now we have a president who actually speaks up, and he's called a racist. No, it's not about race. It's about policies, about following the law in our Constitution.
Right. We want solutions. So let's fix the problem. So one of those problems is immigration. One of those problems is abuse of the system. It's also the loopholes around the visa statuses. Where do you stand on like the H-1B visa? People abusing it, like say some big companies.
I make it really simple. I go to the business owners and I go, listen, you're responsible for your workers. You're responsible for everything that goes on under your roof. We don't want government to take charge of everything that anybody has to do. That's the last thing you want. So I'll make it easier. I want to propose something where in my county or anywhere else really, because it's common sense, that the worker who actually owns that business is responsible. So then if you want to hire people from Mexico or anywhere else around the world, it's up to you and you follow the law. And in 3 to 5 years, if those workers want to apply for citizenship, there you go. It's just not that complicated. It's really easy. I did it in the 80s. There's a lot of people waiting in line, but I think on a work type of visa, I think we could do a lot better and give opportunities to our farmers and everybody else who's willing to hire people from anywhere else around the planet.
Using a process, a legal, orderly, lawful process.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, I've heard you say less government, restrained government. I've heard you say, you want to look at immigration. You support the president on the wall. Where do you stand on tax? I don't think that Donald Trump and the Congress that he has now, he said that he didn't get quite the deal that he wanted. Do you believe that we can work harder to fix some of the problems that we have relating to the tax system, and what does that look like for you?
Absolutely. You can't just keep taxing people and making a burden on their lives and their families forever and ever and ever. The small business, the blue collar that built this country, the backbone of the United States of America is still there standing. Mm-hmm. Look at the steel workers. Look what's going on by bringing jobs back to America. Mm-hmm. California could do that. California could do so much more. I believe that California could do a lot better without state tax. We have enough taxes going on left and right in this state to last forever. So, we want to follow states like Florida, Texas, but instead we're pushing business owners away. So, going back to your question, the president had everything at his disposal. But both parties shut the doors on him over and over again. They're not working with him. So he's got to find ways to help the American people. And the sooner the better the Congress and the Senate gets on board for the American people, the better. But like I said, this November, we have a choice. If you don't believe that representative that you're going to vote for, or not vote for him, did not do their job, then it's your time to go. And we have to replace a lot of them to make sure that they're working for the American people, not themselves.
Right. So in the 26th district, it's Antonio Sabato Jr., right? And he wants to do more tax reform. And that's great news, because I just think that, you know, when I look to my representative in D.C., I think that they should be continually working, if they're working at all, on easing the tax burden, you know, making sure that regulations are less burdensome. You know, their job is very simple, you know, national security and an umbrella. What they've developed into is a bunch of bloated, overburdening, over-oppressive government, and we need to get away from that. And so it sounds like you're working more in the direction of what a Republican would serve the country.
I'm an American citizen, a regular guy who wants to do better for my community and listen to the people that I'm surrounded by. I mean, that's how I used to be. For the people, by the people, right? Absolutely. But instead now it's for their government, for their private interests and their donors and their all this stuff that has nothing to do with the future of this country. So, you know, we have to do more, and I'm going to stand up for my county, and we're all standing up together because we have to do it together as a team, and we're going to win because we expect better.
Yes. Well, it's great to hear that you have, you know, responsive walk-away people from the left, or shall I say from Democrats who are disenfranchised, and moderates and independents, because in California we are, you know, a lot more liberal-leaning in terms of, you know... Unfortunately,
liberals destroy everything, but sooner or later they're going to understand, the people are going to understand that it's not right. It's not right. They've been running the state into the ground. You know, they talk about the state being so rich in so many ways. Well, if it's so rich, why we have so many programs? Why we have so many people living on the streets? If we can pay for all these people, if we can take care of them, why don't we do that? Why do we have to spend $700 million, I believe, on homelessness in Los Angeles alone every year, and more people are living on the streets? Right. People have to take responsibility for their own actions. If we have people living on the streets and in mental rehabilitation, then we need to build more hospitals. We need to build more mental hospitals to take them off the streets. If these programs do not work, where people come back and forth to get their kicks, and we have to change it. We have to make sure that people off the streets get into a program and never go back on the streets again. And also it's got to do with the regulations, business regulations. They have to be cut down in half, or even more than that. I mean, we're pushing businesses away. They're all leaving. They're going to Georgia. They're going to Texas. They're going to the East Coast. They're going to Nevada. They're going anywhere else but California.
So you're going to be a strong advocate in D.C. for the state of California. That's
absolutely
wonderful. That's
absolutely
wonderful.
We used to be the state that used to welcome people, the Golden State. Now we're pushing people away, and it's only going to last so long. And I think right now that's why this election is so important in so many levels, because it's so much for our country. And I think this will be the biggest election of our time. And we need to win it for the American people, because they deserve more. They need to be protected, and I'm definitely there for them, and I'm very excited. We're going to keep fighting, and please go to voteantonio.com, support us there, keep spreading the word, and November 6th, go out there and vote.
Thank you, Antonio. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm going to have you just repeat one more time. I know you just gave us your website, but for those people who are just joining us, if you could give us your name, your platform information in 30 seconds, and then also your website. That would be really wonderful.
Sure. My name is Antonio Sabato Jr., running for Congress of District 26, beautiful Ventura County. I'm here for the people, by the people, and I'm excited to win in November. November 6th is our election. Go to voteantonio.com.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Antonio. And we would like to have you on maybe in mid-October and catch up with you and hear how your campaign is going and let you speak to the people. God bless you. Stay safe. And if you ever need anything, the Erin Cruz Show and everybody else online, I know I've seen the activity. They're here for you. God bless you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Antonio. I really appreciate you making the time. I know you're really super busy.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, if you need anything, let us know. I'm here for you. All of our followers are here for you. And take care, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We will return to the Erin Cruz Show in just a moment.
People because they're voting in California. Corrupt politicians are using dead people to steal elections. Last October, we learned that a Mexican citizen used a dead man's ID for the last 25 years, and he voted for him multiple times. A CBS investigation found that hundreds of dead people are still voting in LA. By allowing dead people to vote, the Secretary of State is telling you that your vote does not matter. You know what? Your vote does matter. All votes matter. Elections matter. Let's together. Let's fight for fair and free elections. I'm Mark Cruz. I'm running for California Secretary of State. I don't see dead people, but I do approve this message.
And now, back to the Erin Cruz Show. Here's Erin Cruz.
Isn't it just so refreshing to hear from Antonio Sabato, a guy who, is working so hard, so diligently, despite the uphill battle by the mainstream media to quell the vote and to obstruct him from gaining the seat in the United States House of Representatives. True patriot, working hard for the state of California and his potential constituents. I want to thank you again for joining us tonight on the Erin Cruz Show. Every night that you come and join us is just such a treasure to have you here. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of our platforms. Help us get out the vote. Help us to get information to the patriots across the nation and in California especially about the candidates that can help make an impact in DC as well as up in Sacramento. Again, thank you so much for joining me on the Erin Cruz Show. Good night. God bless.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's erincruz.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.